let's learn Copy Kitty editor time. Go to mission mode, custom levels, which is just a very far scroll right if you want, from the normal missions if you want to be unlazy and needlessly workful. But most people then just go to create new level. Now the first thing you should try to go to is menu, which in case your right click isn't working is F. And the default it starts with is terrain editing. I'm going to show that first. But however, one thing to notice is grid, which goes from nano to giga. And it's pretty helpful because humans tend not to have perfectly steady hands and thus may have trouble drawing straight lines. Look at that. Look at all those straight lines. By straight I mean like perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. And voila! Grid can be nano, milli, hecto, giga. In case you want to be extremely geometrical. And off. For example, want to do something freehand now. That tends to look ugly. More or less. But it's interesting, I'm going to keep it in. There's also rectangle, which is pretty self-explanatory. I'm on erase mode, so nothing's showing up. And there you have it, some land. The other two things to notice in terrain editing is resize level. I'm going to make this a vertical level. Confirm. And visual options, which lets you play with a lot of stuff. Foreground tech, which is the breakable stuff. There's different color values these levels use. Pretty simple to mess with. And background effects. This is what background effects is. Notice these aren't changing. And patterns, however, is what gets rid of the Z's. And there's different background types. This is normal. Icosphere, which has some pretty interesting things, but not as customizable as noted by these red things that can't be changed. Sky, which is a place, looks like the sky. And shadow, in case you want everything all dark. For example, this guy. And will show up dark in the editor. And Boki will also be dark when I'm playing as her. And then there's a randomize all, just to give you an idea of what is possible. That one's pretty cool. Alright, next menu is object placement. Now, this top one is actually 3, metal, crystal, and lock. But lock is sort of a hidden feature. To scroll down, press the down arrow while keeping your mouse still. Let's do metal indestructible, apparently. Well, you look at that, metals. Now notice there's a crack between those. That's because I'm a person who can really benefit from a good grid. And look at that. No annoying crack. And finally, there. these cannot overlap. The other type is crystal, which can be broken. I'm gonna put it down here. Could have done it all the way over to the left, but why not? And finally, last type, metal, drag, click, and now gonna drag the block, yes, up to an enemy in order to make him or her into a key. Those are how you do metal, crystals, and lock. Spikes, pretty self-explanatory. Wait, I want to get rid of the spikes. Simply drag and right-click while dragging. I find it good to make a mental note to drag before you start pressing the right key of your mouse. And barriers, these guys are what keeps attacks from going through, except remote. And if it's combined with a solid block, then only a remote and wave combination can get through it, although the barriers themselves don't protect from all blasts. Some blasts can get through if when detonated on or near the barrier, so keep that in mind while designing a level. There's acid. Where's a good place for acid? Why not these blocks? And I have some overflow. Start dragging and then right click and to get rid of the overflow. Yes, there's physics within the editor itself. Ew. It looks like this is gonna be a problem up here. So yeah, acid gets all over the place. We're gonna try it again. Even then there's overflow. So we have random acid up there. Can do more interesting things with the physics of the acids. And platforms, which lets Boki stand on them but not pass through them from above because she's too busy standing on them. And if you want to make Boki run or anything like that, they have to be a certain size apparently. They can be sloped, and they have certain size requirements. They can't go straight up and down, of course. That's all for object placement. I'm gonna switch the grid to Hector just because. Enemy placement. Now I go try to save the level, but nope. At least one enemy needs to be a target. So who shall be our target? Probably someone far away from Boki. Someone maybe decently powerful, or maybe just a target as a target. The so-called Bozai Tebeth. But you could get creative, have a random guy with interesting properties be the target, like this guy can transform into lots of different enemies. Gonna make him the strongest one just so it'd be more climatic, but you generally don't want to fill your levels with the strongest enemies. That way there's a difference between normal and hard mode. He's gonna be he can drop anything, but since he's gonna be the only target in the level, it really won't matter. And some enemies have options you can change at this particular area, but not this one apparently. Yeah, you need to keep your mouse still while placing these. Now to destroy him, right click. Yeah, it can be a bit finicky sometimes. Now you probably would want to add more enemies, maybe of the same type of robots, but maybe not. Generally want to have a few of each type if you're going to include a type. Like a level with one of every enemy would be kind of silly. Especially if it's like one of these and one of these, because they're not really actually enemies. But now this is, yeah, this guy he's hard to destroy. Come on, why aren't you being placed? Whatever. Ooh, see, I made a mistake. Gonna turn the grid off. He was a target type. Now the other two types are normal and unkillable. And you have these very popular goo guys crawling around at the bottom. Of course, no one's up here with Boki except the key guy. I'm going to put Boki on the key platform by dragging her. Don't know why it's not Boki herself isn't the player sprite, but whatever. And apparently those guys have different options of which way to face. But huge variety in the enemies. Bouncy ninjas. You're gonna probably want to put in enemies that gives Boki's power, since that's the whole gimmick of Copy Kitty. Type normal. Alright, excellent. Environment. Now, if you want to fill your thing up completely with lava, yes. You could technically do that, although no one wants to play a level that's literally unpassable. Anyway, be aware that the environment can hurt enemies, and I could put it like this, but it would destroy the target of the level. Weather can destroy some enemies as well, so be careful with that. But yes, you control the weather. And floor and ceiling. Removes the floor and ceiling. The floor you just fall down and back up doesn't really hurt all too much, or at all, I think. Can make it hurt if you do a very low lava layer. Now, info. Shaggy Big Purpose. That's a random level name, which all levels are given upon creation. Ah. Author. Testing. You can, of course, choose which music this goes to. Papaya Periscope, maybe? Blueberry Bubble, why not? Set challenges if you want to make it that way. 100%ing the level is sort of difficult. And select starting weapons. Go to add, press enter, and then you're added a weapon. You can have up to 8 of these. Press up and down to shuffle through the 8 towers. Split. Explode. And wave. You might be able to choose some levels using particular powers and power combinations as well. But tornado is one I like, more or less. And to exit, go to exit and press enter. And back to terrain editing. This should be a complete level. Now, before uploading a level to the internet and wanting people to play your game, make sure it actually works. So yes, testing is very important. Destroy the key. Ouch. Galvanic arc is sort of hard to control. But yeah, this stuff down here might be ignored if you don't put more incentive to go up. The crystal thing breaks all at once. There's blocking like it should. Ah, see that guy? That's actually the guy put in the editor. He looks different because his power is transformed into different things. But he doesn't have that many hits. Oh yes, I removed the floor. And now why he's immune to everything. But he self-destructs and I win the level. Anything can happen in Copy Kitty, apparently. And there you go, a complete legit level. Might want to make some changes like have a floor, have more enemies down here, maybe have more targets, or change the target type, whatever. Now, there's actually more you can do with the level outside of the editor, which I will get to right now. Anyway, since I'm gonna mess with the save files itself, should save and exit the level itself. And go to where the levels are kept. This is going to be the general path, and whatever your username is will be here. But app data, local apps 2.0, Copy Kitty, and levels. See here? Notice how there's actually 2 levels? That's because it's, or 2 files rather, because that's just how Copy Kitty saves. Anyway, both of these can be modified, and they contain all the data. Now, this PNG file is actually the layout of the level. All the white stuff is solid. Let's say you just hate these triangles and rectangles you made up here because you're a super artistic person and absolutely can't stand geometric stuff. Well, no need to fear. Go to your super high-tech editor, which for me is Paint, and just make the level as you feel is best, which might include a lot of circles, which is a Copy Kitty editor's weakness. Let's start with that. Now that's pretty boring right now, but could do something like this. Save. And reload the level. That was an interesting error. Anyway, see what the level looks like now. Edit. That's something you don't see every day in a Copy Kitty level. The player probably needs to be moved. That's all the nature of editing, is that sometimes you just need to move stuff around. At this point, I expect someone might want to release their level. Of course, a couple of things might have slipped by, so it's always best to test the level, because you don't want a level completely broken and then just put it onto the internet and say, here, play it, when you haven't played it yourself. So I'm going to save this and test it. As a closing note, I would like to say that Copy Kitty level design is just like any other part of Copy Kitty, pretty based on randomness and having things emerge that's never been seen before. And it's really fun to just go in there and, even without knowing everything, seeing what you can do. And by the time you figure out how to do everything comfortably, you probably already have a very decent level. So if you're afraid of trying because it won't be good, just do it. That's all I have to say.